Welcome to the Book Boyfriend podcast, where we dish on everything from the alpha male to the sensitive soul. If you found yourself lusting after a fictional character, you've come to the right place. Here's your hosts, Faith Andrews, Elizabeth Grace, Livia Jammerland, and B.A. Wolf.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Book Boyfriend podcast. We are here with a very, very special guest, Tiffany. And as you know, we just finished reading her book, How to Kill a Rock Star, and we are still high as a kite from it. And now we get to pick the genius's brain. I feel like we're talking to Paul here. I feel like we're all shaking. So let's get down to business. And Tiffany, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I grew up in Ohio, where there was nothing else to do except read books and listen to music, hence where I ended up in life. I was sort of one of those really weird kids that did nothing but read books and listen to music, like to the point where my parents used to beg me in high school to go out on dates, and all I did was dream about rock stars and write poems and listen to music. And I left Ohio at 17. I went to college in California, where I studied philosophy and stalked boys and stalked bands and started writing right after I graduated, and spent about a decade and a half being a professional writer full-time, and then I started a record label thinking it was something I'd be able to do on the side while I was writing. Little did I know it was going to become my full-time job, 18 hours a day, which is why I haven't published a book since 2005, but there's a new one coming, so eventually it will be there.
Oh my goodness, I mean, whew. That's awesome. Like, you got a new book coming. I'm like, wait a second, well, what's the book about? So let's get into our questions. Faith, I think you're up first.
Yes, I am. Okay, obviously this is something you probably hear all the time after everyone reads this book. What is your favorite song and who's your favorite band?
Well, that is very easy for me because I've had the same favorite band since I was 11, and I just turned 45. So my favorite band is U2, and I know a lot of people roll their eyes when you say that U2 is your favorite band, but I saw them for the first time when I was, I think I was in 8th grade, so I don't know what I was, 13, maybe 14, and it was an experience much like Doug Blackman, where I was watching the show and Bono came on stage and sang this song, and I was in the 4th row, and he looked like he was crying as he was singing the song, and I just remember sort of feeling like I was changing as a person in those moments. And you know, you guys say you love music. You know what that feels like when you're just connecting with music in that way that you just feel like I felt like he was showing me how I wanted to live. You know, he was up there and he was passionate and he was committed, and I just remember being this dumb 8th grader thinking that is the way I want to experience life, and sort of raised the bar on how I sort of interpret all art now, because it's a high bar, you know? It's hard to reach that. A lot of people don't really care and don't put themselves into their work like that, and so yeah, I've been following around U2 ever since.
Wow. I think Jess is like stunned in silence.
I have chills. I literally have chills.
Well, and also they were singing a song called "Bad" in that moment, where
I love that song. I love that song.
And it's the greatest song ever. I mean, it's my favorite song in the whole world, just because of that. I mean, it's just when he says, you know, I wish I could through myself set your spirit free. I just feel like, God, that is the way I feel every second of every day. So that song just means so much to me, and that band means so much to me, And I'm so grateful to have something in my life that brings me that much joy.
Oh my God.
That song's gonna be like on repeat with all of us tomorrow. No big deal.
Exactly.
No big
Well,
deal.
and I should also mention my second favorite song in the whole world is a song by Jeff Buckley called "Lover, You Should Have Come Over," and that's a song that every time I hear it, I feel like my heart is like been broken but put back together, and there's like a candle burning inside of it. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's one of the most incredible songs ever written. So put that on repeat too.
Done. So that kind of leads me into my question. Eliza and Paul both have that one song, "The Day I Became a Ghost." That is their life changer song. What is yours? Is it bad?
It is bad. It is bad for sure. I mean, that was the song that just, it changed my life. And it's still the song I go to now if I'm having a horrible day or if I really need to figure something out or I'm trying to, even like, do you ever have those moments where you're trying to speak to somebody through music and it's not like you're sending them the song, but you listen to it and you just think like, if I think about them really, really hard, like they're going to feel this too. And that's kind of the song I always go to when I feel it.
So is that the kind of passion that you put into when you were writing that portion of the book? Like you wrote that, so that was their song, their life-changing moment. Is that kind of where you got inspired from that to put into the book?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Now, since on the topic of music, and I know he played a big part in the book, who is your Doug Blackman in the real world?
I guess it would be easy to say that it's Bono, but I feel like Bono's such a different persona than Doug Blackman that it doesn't really correlate. But, I mean, as far as a musical hero, it definitely is Bono to me. I always joke that everything I know about life, love, politics, and humanity I learned from U2 music. So I really feel that. I was like the only person in my 7th grade class that knew what Amnesty International was and was like writing letters to people to get human rights violators put in jail. And I remember my 7th grade teacher like calling my parents and being like, what is she doing? Like, what is all this? Where is she getting that? And my mom was just like, it was in a U2 album, Like, it's where it all comes from. I feel like my whole life would be completely different if I'd never discovered that band.
Well, it's funny because that brings me to this one, which is you're saying Bono is actually very different from Doug in a lot of ways, and I just want to know if you have the same views about the music industry that Doug and Paul shared, like this whole heathens and pagans thing, like how they,
Well, it's a really good question because when I wrote the book, I had a lot of musician friends, but I'd never worked in the music business. And I was sort of going by, how they felt and what they told me and some of the research that I'd done. But now that I work on the other side of the business, my perspective is a little bit different. I mean, I still think that, we try as I don't know if you guys know, but the other job I'm talking about is that I run an indie record label, and I feel like, I mean, we're kind of known for being artist friendly, and it's really important for us to sign bands who write their own music and can play instruments and can sing and put a lot of integrity into their music, but it's still a business, and so I see the other side of it now. I see it when an artist will turn in an album and we'll just be like, nobody's going to play any of these on the radio. Like, come on, guys, just give us something that the radio will play. So, but it's not, for me, it's not about, like, we want to make millions of dollars and exploit you. For me, it's about wanting these artists that are so super talented to actually be able to make a living making music, because it's so hard these days with people not buying music like they used to. You really have to make a much bigger effort to have a sustainable career. So that's where I'm coming from.
Can I don't know if was I up next? I was, but actually I have another question. When you talked about how people buy music, like it used to be back, when I was growing up, you'd buy an album. So you had like an album experience. I can remember putting the CD back then, Pearl Jam's 10 into the CD player, and you'd listen like from beginning to end, and it's a much different experience when you're listening to an album versus like a single that's cut for radio. When people go on iTunes and they don't buy an album anymore, they just buy that one song that they know that's played on the radio. Do you think that's had a big effect on what type of music gets made and what's popular nowadays?
100% yes. And I think if you listen to pop radio, I think you can hear that. I think that with the exception of a few popular artists, and, again, I don't really work with quote-unquote pop artists. My bands are indie, alternative sort of things, but, there's still some crossover sometime, and I think if you listen to some of the songs on the radio, they're just so bad, and I think that's a byproduct of what you're talking about. It's people that know nobody's buying nobody's buying albums like they used to. So it's just about these gimmicky songs that are going to hook people into spending 99 cents on them. And I think it's been really detrimental to music because the album as a piece of art is so special, and I think anyone who grew up listening to albums knows that, but I don't know that my 12-year-old nephew is ever going to know that, you know what I mean? And just to throw in a complete side note, since you mentioned Pearl Jam's 10, Eddie Vedder is my second favorite, and my longest running imaginary boyfriend. He and I have been together since 1991.
We share that in common.
I'm like, Eddie and I have been together longer than you and I have been together. That counts.
Okay, I was wondering if when you were writing the book, if you had not necessarily a singer, an artist in mind, but if you had somebody's voice in mind of what you thought Paul sounded like.
I did, actually. It's an artist named Jimmy Necco. And that's Gnecco. He sings for an alternative band called Ours, Ours. And they were never very popular, but I was a huge fan of Jimmy's voice, and he was this artist that I discovered in, I think it was 1999. No, it was 2001 actually. I heard his voice. I was in a record store and they were playing his first album, and I just remember being like stopping dead in my tracks and asking the guy behind the counter, like, tell me what this record is because I have to buy it. And he just has the most incredible voice you would ever hear, and nobody knows who he is. And so that was really an inspiration for the book for me, is like thinking about how many amazing artists there are in the world that no one will ever know about. Mm-hmm. Because to me, Jimmy, when I heard Jimmy sing, I just thought to myself, this guy should be the most popular rock and roll singer in the world. And, that was what, almost 16 years ago, and still hardly anybody knows who he is.
Well, I wrote
we're
that.
We're gonna know who he is.
Tell him I thank you.
We will.
Okay, so you kind of teased us a little bit that you're writing a new book.
Paul has his nose, too.
Okay.
So you teased us a little bit that you're writing a new book. Can you shed any light on that, about what it's about? When can we expect it? Anything. We'll take anything.
I wish I could tell you when to expect it. I mean, my goal is to finish a rough draft by the end of the year, but I think that's probably wishful thinking. I hope to have it out within the next 2 years, fingers crossed. And what it's about, I would say it's in a very general sense about what happens to somebody if they don't follow their dreams. And it kind of, the story is sort of told between these two guys that meet as kids and become best friends, and they have this shared dream, and one of them pursues that dream, and one of them gives up on it, and it's sort of like they meet later in life, and things happen.
Oh, I know.
We're all excited for this one.
Hurry up, stop what you're doing and write.
What are you doing on here with us?
I mean, if you need some people to beta read for you, I'm pretty sure the four of us will gladly read it. So, my question, I know that you already worked in the industry, or you didn't work in the industry when you were writing How to Kill a Rock Star, but my question for you, since you love music, when you are writing, do you have a playlist that you listen to, or is it complete silence?
Oftentimes it's not a specific playlist, but I can't listen to music with words when I'm writing, just because it just gets my head all jumbled. So a lot of times I listen to either like sort of weird shoegazy, like space rock, like Mogwai or something like that, or I listen to classical music. And one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm writing is the Immortal Beloved soundtrack. It's like all Beethoven music, but it's really, really beautiful. Or sometimes if I do want words, I'll listen to Maria Callas or just random opera because it's in another language, so it doesn't confuse me. But yeah, I rarely listen to music with words when I'm writing. I like cello and piano music, so I'll do a lot of that too. Or sometimes jazz. I like to listen to Miles Davis.
Ooh.
I'm the same. If I hear words, I just get this like, it's almost like a video running in my head, and then like the next thing I know, it's like 5 minutes have gone by, and I'm just like had this whole movie running in my head.
Yeah, or I'm just like, I'm listening to what this person is saying to me, and I'm not writing, I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to know, since you're in the music industry, what is the name of a band that we probably have never heard of, but we should have?
I would say a band called Flagship or a band called Mona.
I'm writing these down.
Me too.
Flagship or Mona, you should know who they are. And Jimmy Necco.
Yeah, I wrote him down. Okay, now, so I hate flying. I get super high anxiety about it, and so I wondered.
You cut out for a second. You hate what?
Flying.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I could really connect with Eliza's character on that front. So I was wondering, did that come from you or someone you know, or where did that inspiration come from?
Yes, I hate to fly. I used to be really, really, really afraid to fly when I was younger. I still don't like it, but I do it so much that I'm a little bit desensitized to it, unless the weather's bad, and then I kind of freak out. Like this morning, I was in Nashville over the weekend working, and this morning I had to fly, and there was like thunderstorms and thunderstorm warnings, and I was just like telling my husband, like, if I see lightning, there's no way I'm getting on that plane. Luckily, it didn't start until later, so yeah. So and I'm also one of those people that like can look at the slats and the flaps and make sure they're okay, and like I know what our altitude is, and I check the weather before we take off, and what the wind's gonna be when I'm landing, and it's really ridiculous.
No, it's totally not, because I do that too.
Yeah, and like really kind of crazy things, like if the plane is painted weird, I won't want to get on it. I don't like things with propellers. A lot of weird things, but I try to get over it. But still, I have been like on flights where I felt really bad, like this plane gives me the willies or the weather is really bad, and I'll just get off, and that's really annoying to my husband.
What? Oh my God, that's crazy. No, Wow. Okay.
That's a real it's a real fear.
Yeah.
One particular time we were supposed to be going to Texas to spend Thanksgiving with his mom, and it was pouring down rain so hard, and like thunder and lightning, and like the rain was going sideways. It was so windy. And we got on the plane, and I kept saying, I can do this, I have to get there, it's Thanksgiving. And they shut the doors, and the pilot said something about how everyone had to stay in their seats for the whole flight because it was going to be really, really turbulent. And I just looked at Scott, and I was like, I've got to get off this plane. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, I can't do it. And so he was like, all right, we'll go tomorrow. His mom was really pissed, but
that's just a mill. No big deal.
You know what I hate? I hate when you show up at the airport and they're like, oh, we have an earlier flight. Did you want to get on it? Because then I'm like, am I supposed to be on the earlier flight? Or am I like changing my fate because or should I stay on the flight I'm supposed to be on? Like, and I
do the exact same thing.
Okay.
I do, and I was actually, here's another really funny story. I was leaving San Francisco to go to New York, and I'm sitting on the plane, and this woman walks by me, and I look at her, and she looks really familiar, and she sits in the seat in front of me, and I realize that it's Robin Wright. And the only thing I can think of is, like, holy fuck, if this plane crashes, everyone's going to be like, Robin Wright died, and no one's going to care about me. Like I'll just see a number in the newspaper. Yeah. Robin Wright and 200 other people died. So when celebrities are on my plane, I get really nervous.
Oh man, I had to get on a plane and sit on it when it was a snowstorm, and they had to de-ice the plane. I've never been so. I hate. Can I get a Bloody Mary stat? I was like, I'm not gonna make it. And then I had to sit and choose. They canceled my flight, so they're like, okay, do you want to fly? Do you want to lay over in Tulsa or Kansas City? And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. It's 3 a.m. I don't know these decisions. I'm like, okay, Tulsa. Of course, I picked the one that's like got the worst layover. The Kansas City flight's a-okay. Everything's great on that one. And then we get on it, and it's de-icing, and I'm like, never again, never again.
Horrifying. I understand.
But I'm an equally bad driver, so really rather me be on that plane.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that you are married to your husband, Scott. Is he in the music industry as well, or is he just, a scientist?
He is in the music industry. We actually started the record label together, so we work together, we run it together. Prior to being in the music business, he was a professional triathlete. So he spent his days running, biking, and swimming for like 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you guys are like too interesting. Like you're just too interesting. Like you're your own characters of a story. Yeah.
If I had to compare him to any character that I've ever written, I would say he's probably closest to Loring. He's just like
Babs.
I am so Team Loring, it's not even funny. That man was made for me.
Loring was so awesome. Loring was awesome.
And then, okay, I have to show you.
God-Shaped Hole?
What's that?
Have you read God-Shaped Hole, my first book?
No. It's on our list.
So the main, I can't tell you, but if you ever read it, you have to let me know, because the main character makes a cameo in How to Kill a Rock Star. In relation to Loring. That's all I can say.
Keith.
I'm very excited. Well, quickly, before we do your rapid fire run, I have to show you my shirt. My husband and I worked very hard on this.
I can't wait.
You gotta talk, Babs.
Oh, can you see me? Am I too big?
Oh my god, that's amazing!
I was like, girls, I have the perfect shirt.
That is amazing. I love it.
So proud.
Would love it. Did you make that?
I did one. It's so funny because the D's weren't working right, so I had to make backwards C's and cut part of a 7 out to really make it all work. I was like, I gotta do this, honey. He's like, all right, we'll make it work, honey.
Love it.
And then I think I'm the last one with the question. I was just wondering, can I be your assistant? I am great at grabbing coffee. I could hold your bags when we go to the grocery store, and I could hold your hand during flights. I'm just saying, if you ever need...
If you could move to Northern California, we can talk.
Challenge.
If you're not going, Liv, I'm going, so.
Honey, pack the bags. We're moving.
Wait,
Right.
so where in Colorado do you live? I didn't hear that. Where you actually live? The one in Colorado.
Babs.
Oh, Colorado. So I'm in
Where?
Thornton, actually.
Where?
Thornton. So we are...
Okay, yeah. I used to live in Boulder for many years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so not too far.
Not too far.
How long were you out here for?
Scott went to grad school at CU, and then we were there for probably like another 5 or 6 years.
I love it. I think it's time to come back, Tiffany.
Well, you sound like him. He loves it there too.
How come all the cool people live in Colorado?
Because
I don't
Colorado's
understand.
gorgeous and beautiful and amazing.
It's really awesome.
And weed is legal.
awesome.
And we...
Yes.
Oh my God. All right, so we're just going to do a quick rapid fire round of questions with you. So I guess the first thing that comes to mind, just answer with that, okay? Okay, so coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yes.
Lots of it.
Yeah. Heels or flats?
Heels, even though I can't walk the dog in them.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Definitely dogs.
Little black dress or yoga pants?
Oh, that's really hard. Probably little black dress.
Abs or biceps?
Biceps.
That's the second. Wow, I'm shocked because I'm an abs girl, but everybody's going for the biceps.
Oh, wait, you mean for boys?
Yes, for boys.
Definitely abs. Sorry, you're right. I thought you meant me, and I was like, well, definitely have better biceps.
We have to reword that question.
We need to fix that one. Chocolate or peanut butter?
I love them together, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with chocolate.
Yeah, I think that's a fan favorite too. Lipstick or chapstick?
Chapstick.
Beach or city vacation?
Beach.
I know, I'm longing. It's too cold here still. I cannot wait.
I don't know. I think it should be a mountain vacation, but whatever.
I'm cool with that too. I'm cool. Paperback or Kindle?
Paperback.
We need to bring that back.
Yes.
And
I tried to do Kindle and I just couldn't. I missed like writing things in margins and underlining and holding books. So I got one right here. Like period everywhere.
oh, I saw you post that on Instagram recently, right? Yeah, we all need to.
It's really good.
Oh, I gotta pick that one.
Weird, but it's really good.
Okay, and last but not least, are you a plotter or a pantser?
A what?
Do you fly by the seat of your pants when you write, or you plot everything out?
Oh, I do not plot.
Yay! Another one!
No plotter.
Not a plotter. Much to my agent's dismay, because he thinks that everyone is supposed to outline everything and then just sit down and write it, and I cannot do that. I'm sure I would write faster if I did, but that's boring.
No, it's such a shock to me, though. Like, honestly, because reading that book, like, I don't know how long it took you to write that, but it was so intricate and, like, stories inside of stories, and it's not just, like, we were just talking about this before you came on, like, they were so three-dimensional, these characters. Like, there were things about them that couldn't possibly just, I don't know, it just seemed like everything was so calculated and planned, and you're basically saying it wasn't. So it's just such a genius, I don't know, it's genius. That's all I can say. I don't know.
I usually, when I write, I usually know how it begins, and I think I know how it ends, but I don't know anything in the middle. I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because, like, for instance, the character of Loring, I just, like, remember Paul mentioning him, like, early on in the book, and I had no idea that he was going to come back and actually be a character.
Oh my God.
It's just something that happens, and, these people just show up in the story, and you have to go with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you
Shane the Savior. We're all getting tattoos.
blew my mind.
We are all getting tattoos. I know you have to go.
You guys send them to me.
I really think we are. Like, we were actually talking about this morning, Elizabeth and I want to get Save the Savior on our arms.
I love that. I will cry so hard.
I told my husband tonight, I'm like, I know what my next tattoo is. He's like, oh, what are you getting? I explained it to him, and he's like, no, that's totally you. You should go get it. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Please post them.
Oh, we will. But thank you. I know you have to leave, and thank you so much for coming on with us. We really, really appreciate it. It's like a dream come true because we idolize you. While we were reading it, we kept PMing each other, and we're like, I'm gonna quit. I should never write again. This is brilliant. This is like the Bible. Like, it was honestly one of the best books I have ever read. I absolutely love Paul. I love your writing, and I feel like I'm falling in love with you. And
you guys are gonna make me cry, I swear.
Oh no, we're just a little bit stalkerish, so we might just be like,
Listen,
tagging you all over the place.
Married if I didn't stalk, so I've never had a date with anyone I didn't have to stalk for.
But I know you have to leave us, but thank you so much again, Tiffanie, for coming on with us.
Thank you so much.
That's fun. I hope we can do this again next book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that one will be in front of each other with drinks and tons of drinks and alcohol.
And I'm serious, if you guys are ever in San Francisco, please, please, please look me up. I would love to meet you.
Oh, thank you. We definitely will.
It'd be wonderful.
Yay.
All right.
Thanks, Tiffanie.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Thanks for joining us. You can find out who will be on upcoming shows and what books we'll be discussing, as well as more about our hosts at www.bookboyfriendpodcast.com. See you next time when we add another boyfriend to the ranks.